So here's the deal. Disney has got a lot of problems because of this measles outbreak, and I mean, it's not even proven that people can contract diseases in public places and that it can be traced. I mean, this is so far fetched. I mean, if what I can't figure out is like Disney, with all its billions of dollars, can't protect itself from this. I mean, it could be a lawsuit that they bring against the CDC for making these claims. I mean, are you trying to tell me that the CDC has got more power than Disney? Or is this just some kind of twisted plan to slightly tarnish the image of Disney, and Disney is colluding with the CDC for the benefit of bringing more children to disease through vaccination, but in their distorted false science, their pseudoscience, blaming it on not getting vaccinations. So Disney could be used by this. I've heard a lot of things that Disney Corporation and Walt Disney himself were covering the fact of twisted things that they do with children and pedophilia, and I'm not so sure that that has anything to do with it, because I've never been able to prove that conclusively. And yes, I'm saying that I have not proven it conclusively, but it does seem to be possible that Disney is a front organization, is a cover story for what they're really doing. I've seen some things where they analyze the animated movies and they find all kinds of suggestive subliminal um, items that are unspeakable, and they're just promoting this toward young kids, young children that should not be exposed to all of this. But for a multi-million-dollar movie production to come out, I haven't seen it proven, because obviously, listen carefully, when they show these things to try to expose Disney, it's not proven conclusively, because anyone can fake that. They can say, ooh, I analyzed this footage, and that could be a fake in itself. A fake trying to say that Disney is a fake. You have to do the research yourself. So I'm not saying that the people that are analyzing the Disney material have any integrity. They could have a whole other agenda. I'd have to do it myself to prove it to the scientific method that is tried and true. You have to go through frame by frame, and if you find it yourself in what Disney is selling directly on their site, or just something that is licensed from Disney, it is the actual DVD, VHS, or whatever, and if you find it in there. So let's go focus more on the measles thing. I was brought to the Time magazine article, and Time is another one that is not trustworthy. Who owns Time? Time Life. Time is totally about propaganda. What they choose to talk about. They've been hammering this for a while. I'm going to tell you right now, they are not trustworthy. I would never trust them. I do not recommend them to people. They are part of the mainstream lying media, the MSM. They are part of the fear porn, but they do it very slick and just conventional and acceptable. And it's time. Why do you get to use the word time? The concept of time is so huge, but you get to have it as a label. That's what your magazine is called. That's what your company is called. That's interesting. Time. You have nothing to do with time. First of all, the magazine has nothing to do with time. It's the same thing in this world. You can label a thing a Christian. It has nothing to do with Christ. It may have nothing to do with actually the general sense of what Christianity is, but you can put the label on it and say this is Christian. Everybody knows that you can slap a label just like a sticker, just like putting a bumper sticker on your vehicle. There it is on your bumper. It doesn't make anything that. It's just a futile attempt. It is what it is. Nothing. You could put a label on a sheep and say cow. You can put a label on a tomato and say fish. You could do anything. You could put the banner on your magazine and call it time, and it has nothing to do with time. You just wanted to suggest to people to where they're like, oh yeah, like automatically. I don't accept those things. I don't. I'm not stupid like that. All right, so I'm teaching people to think that way. You've got to be very critical. You've got to be very aware. You can't be dragged, like sheep to the slaughter. Like that's what they want to do to you because it benefits them. For the slaughterers, the executioner, oh, it'll benefit them, but does it benefit you to believe that you need them, that they are there for you? No, actually it doesn't. See, that's where you got to figure that out. So just at the last moment, you can save yourself. Saving yourself is really what you need to do, dummy. I mean, if you want to live longer, if you value your life, then do so. Let me read into this here. They are saying, and I can analyze it's just the first 3 paragraphs so I can show you how much bullshit is involved with this. Just check it out. All right, it says the number of measles cases in the U.S. has reached 102, according to new numbers released on Monday by the Centers for Disease Control. The number of measles cases, so that's people currently considered with measles, they're saying, in the United States. 102. Okay. Wow. So how many tens of thousands of people have alcoholism? They're sitting there drunk and they can't get themselves undrunk. It's a drunken nation. How many people were drunk, out of their wits, uselessly inebriated due to the Super Bowl? How many hundreds of thousands of alcoholic cases are there? How many hundreds of thousands of marijuana cases are out there right now? Marijuana, in other words, like totally dysfunctional, which is a disease, it's a mental disease, totally dysfunctional on marijuana, can't function, which I'm not saying it's wrong, but it is a disease. Do they count those cases? 102. Wow. 102 compared to hundreds of thousands? Hold on, we're still going to go on here. Cancer. What they call cancer, which, aside from analyzing that whole scam, how many people are in the hospital, in the bed somewhere, or in hospice, or possibly somehow being treated at home if they have the money or the will to do so, cancer, in the so-called condition of cancer? How many people are there right now in the United States? How many? Like tens of thousands, literally tens of thousands. What's the count that the CDC has on that? How many tens of thousands? Well, see, they already know. They're satisfied that they can kill that many people, keep that many people ignorant and dying and suffering from the cancer. See, they're already satisfied on that. See, we've got that. Yeah, check that off on the list. We succeeded. Boom, the high priest, the priesthood, the fake priesthood, the pagan priesthood, the materialism priesthood, we have succeeded. Keep that check mark. That's on the top of the list. Give ourselves a gold medal for that one. Cancer, we've already succeeded on putting it on the people. We've got them, that many thousands, boom, all the time, cases current. What, time is not writing about that. No, they already wrote that one a long time ago. Look for the article back in the 50s or the 40s or whatever, after the Spanish influenza, after all that stuff. Time featured it all. Time has a long track record of promoting this kind of propaganda to put disease into the world. Yet they'll tell you, bold-faced lying, we need to stop the disease. See, it's the people that don't get vaccinated that cause the disease. But Time Magazine and the CDC are actually the ones that are stopping the disease. They'll tell you that bold-faced lie when actually I'm telling you the truth is that they're the ones that are creating the disease. They're the ones. And see, you're scratching his head. Wait a second, is that really what's going on? Yeah, I'm telling you actually what's going on, so keep listening and I'll tell you. That's what is happening right now. Second paragraph. Between January 1st and January 30th, 102 cases of measles were reported from the CDC from 14 different states. Let's find out what those states are. Yeah, we can find that in other articles. We hear that there was California. We hear that there was a whole mess of them in Arizona. That's so you can inject the fear into people that are going to the Super Bowl. They're all pumped up on the adrenaline, but you got to mix it into their mind. Super Bowl of winter 2015, that Super Bowl, the Patriots and who else? Seattle Seahawks, was it? The Patriots who won. But before you get there, you've got to mix it into your mind. They take the clay and they take that mash, the disgusting recipe that they're cooking up, and they just mash it together and they say Super Bowl measles. That's what we get. That's the food they try to shove it down your throat. They cook this up. See, this is the propaganda mainstream media. They cook this up. You cannot separate Super Bowl now from measles. You cannot separate Phoenix, Arizona from measles. You cannot separate Disney now from measles. They have mixed it together. And I'm going to see the other articles and see what kind of PR thing this is. And like I'm saying, this is some twisted ass stuff. And if you don't get this, if you don't wake up, then you're not aware, you don't have the realization of truth yet until you understand. See, where I'm looking at it, I am like the biggest capital letters WTF ever that you could imagine. It's classic. This is so evil, devious. WTF. Next sentence. The majority of the cases are from an ongoing outbreak linked to Disney California Adventure Park in Anaheim, California. Is that Disneyland or what is that? What is that? It wasn't Disneyland? I have to check this. Is this just a little twist on it here? What is Disney California Adventure Park in Anaheim? Anaheim is the location of Disneyland. Why don't they want to say Disneyland here? So it wasn't Disneyland? All right, next, I just have that factual question. Let's get to that. The CDC says the majority of people who got measles were unvaccinated. Boom! Right in your noggin, what they're trying to say here. Last sentence of the second paragraph. Oh, Time, you're so beautiful. Oh, God, you're such a magazine. Wow, you just give it all right there. Wow. They say the majority of people who got measles were unvaccinated. Okay, so it's only January, and we all have already a very large number of measles cases, as many cases we have all year in typical years. Dr. Ann Schuchat, the Assistant Surgeon General, U.S. Public Health Service, said in his press conference last Thursday. Then here she says, this worries me. Oh, she must be a worrywart. And I want to do everything possible to prevent measles from getting a foothold of a football. See how it's all about just America, football, measles. Measles, foothold in football. Foothold, Disney Super Bowl, foothold in football, measles. In the United States, and becoming endemic again. Well, you know what? These things are cyclic. You people in the CDC, you're lying and trying to say you're going to stop these diseases, and you can never stop these diseases with the way that you're conducting it, the way you have your influence on civilization. You will never be able to do it. Let's move on from this stupid article. I'm sorry I had to waste so much time on it. A measles message from Dr. Pamela Heimel, Chief Medical Officer for Walt Disney Parks and Resorts. Medical Officer for the Walt Disney. Medical Officer. Boy, they hire everybody. They hire a person. There's a chief toilet scrubber over there. There's a chief. They got a chief of everything over there. All right, another ridiculous article. WRBL. It says measles outbreak includes 5 Disney theme park employees. Oh, of course, got to their employees too. The happiest place on earth to get measles. What? Are they really putting up with this? See, this is it's very suspicious. Wow. Let's move on.